Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Spoiled with me, Enosh
and Tiffanie.
And today we're talking about a movie that's very near and dear to our hearts. Very touching, romantic story that helped bond us two together.
First scary movie we saw.
A little movie called Paranormal Activity. The Ghost Dimension. Ooh. Now, we'll give you a little history about our history with Paranormal Activity. Seems like people either love it or they hate it.
There's no in between.
No in between. There are people who like the first one and don't like the sequels.
That's true. Well, the first one was the one. I mean, that's the one where every time you kept seeing that same shot, you're like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah,
it was the shot that every time it happened, you're like, oh, man. Here it goes.
Was that a Kenan and Kel reference?
Yes, it was. That's
okay.
How much it scared me.
There you go, kids. But the first Paranormal Activity movie was very unique.
Yes. In
the fact that, I mean, it caught a lot of people's attention. It caught Steven Spielberg's attention.
And they only had $10,000 to make it.
I mean, a cheaply made movie, but, they really used the cinematography in that movie so well to where every time that one stationary...
Still shot at the foot of the bed.
Still shot just came up, man.
Got your heart racing.
Your heart was racing. You didn't know what to expect. You didn't know what was going to come next. There's something about that first movie that I think was really special. I think that they tried...
To replicate
that in other movies. But the problem was they ran into something that happens a lot, and even happens in a lot of TV shows, and, that have these long, drawn-out plots that
hey, it worked once, let's try it 5 more times.
Yeah, well, it's like, we can't just end it here, right? We got to keep making this and kind of draw it out. And in doing so, it just got to a point where it was, you can't just watch the same movie 5 times and watch something move a little bit on, or they hear a noise out of nowhere and, until it escalates and somebody's getting killed. It gets old after a while. And I understand that. But let me tell you something. One of Tiffany and my first dates, we saw Paranormal Activity. Okay, we watched Paranormal Activity. And I just remember that night, like, the movie didn't really bug me watching it. Like, there was a couple parts where, like she said, the jump scares and the heart's racing a little bit, and the ending and stuff I thought was good.
Because you would hear, like, a footsteps or the breathing, and then all of a sudden the door would just move a little bit, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and I kept putting myself in that position and thinking, wow, man, that would really freak me out.
Or when she found the picture in the attic and stuff like that.
But I remember when the movie was done, I was kind of like, that was it? Okay. And so I remember leaving, and I remember that night just sleeping or trying to go to sleep. And I kept hearing noises, and I kept thinking about that one stationary shot of the bed and the hallway.
And to this day, I still cannot sleep with my foot outside the blanket. At nighttime, I can during the day. If we're watching shows, my feet are outside the blanket. Yep. But if it's time for bed and I'm closing my eyes, my foot goes right underneath the blankets because of that stupid shot where the blanket and pulling her foot.
Pulls her leg. The demon pulls her leg out.
I got too many steps in this house to be drug around the house.
Okay, so that's the first Paranormal Activity movie. We're here to talk about, real quickly, the last Paranormal Activity movie, because this now has lasted. This is actually the 6th movie. They tried to call it Paranormal Activity 5. They really didn't call it 5, but they've tried to call it that, even though last year came out Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, which was a totally different story, yet somehow connected. Yeah, it was like the Mexican Paranormal Activity. I didn't understand that one at first, but I actually kind of liked the marked ones.
And it did kind of tie it together and tie it in.
It did a little bit. So this is the movie, for those of us who've been watching these movies, that this was supposed to answer all the questions, because every movie, it seems like they posed more questions than they actually answered in each movie. I mean, in the second one, you find out... I like the second one, actually. The second one I thought was great because it ends up being a prequel instead of a sequel, and you didn't see that coming.
And you said...
In the third one, the demon was given a name, which is the most demonic name and scariest name in history.
I'm gonna get you. My name's Toby.
My name's Toby. And then we get this one, the Ghost Dimension. And the Ghost Dimension does not start off with any of the characters in
any of the first 5.
Any of the first 5. I thought the ending to the marked ones was awesome because it added a totally different...
whole nother level.
A whole different aspect to these movies because the 5th one, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, give you a chance to turn it off or skip forward. The 5th one ends in the first movie.
Oh, that's right.
And we get to see stuff that happened in the first movie off camera that we didn't hear at the end of the movie. It's in the 5th one. And that was awesome. And there's this time travel dimensional thing going on.
Changed things up.
Which, I mean, that movie was kind of slow up to that point. And when that happened, you can ask her, I just about jumped out of my seat. So this one starts off and we get none of that. It's a totally new couple. They move into this house. The husband finds a camera that can apparently see things in the spirit realm, and that's the
camera
whole
was put together differently.
And that's the whole selling point of this movie is that for the first time, you don't just hear things go bump, and you don't just see things move. You get to see what's moving it. And that aspect of this movie I really liked.
That was
because
a cool
I thought
addition.
Parts of this movie, because at some points there's like a double shot setup where they set up 2 different cameras. And so one is the camera shot that you would have gotten in all of the rest of the Paranormal Activity movies.
Yep.
But then it goes back to the shot of the other camera that sees the spirit. And so you see this black ooze thing.
Looks like a black Groot.
From Guardians of the Galaxy come up from the floor, but the other camera doesn't see it at all. Nope. And so that kind of stuff is cool. The basic same story. Things go bump.
They don't know what it is, but they need to go find out why.
Another creepy kid who looks like is getting possessed by Toby, whatever. The one aspect that they did bring back from the 5th one kind of is the whole time travel aspect because they find all the old videotapes of Christy and Katie being indoctrinated and kind of programmed about this demon Toby
with grandma and this
with
other
the grandmother
dude.
And this other dude, and so they're telling them all that, and they can actually see the future where Toby is in their house
because they said they needed this girl
because they need this girl for some reason. It's got to be this girl. We're not told why. We're not given any reason why. We're never told that this little girl is any more special than anybody else's
why she's
kid.
Connected.
Or why she's connected. Nothing. All that they say is they need the kid's blood along with the other 2 girls' blood. And somehow they start catching on that somehow the demon wants to take their little girl back in time to where Katie and Christy are with... This is weird too. With Christy's son who... Hunter. So a grown-up Christy had the son who was in the 2nd movie. So they find this thing that shows that he was back there with them back in the 80s.
Time. But then this little girl had wrote Hunter on the chalkboard. I was expecting more because they said that it was going to answer all of our questions being the last movie. And that's where I was at first disappointed. He was okay, and then all of a sudden I was like, but there's more questions.
So the demon has an end game. The demon has an end game. Toby the demon has a reason for everything he's doing. He wants to be made, fulfill some prophecy. And of course, I always love movies like this that like come with some biblical prophecy or whatever that's not a biblical prophecy. And so Toby the demon wants to be born as a person and come into a physical being. In a physical form. You know,
can't tell you the end though. We this is called spoiled, but we're not going to
reveal the end of the movie. But I'm okay with it.
Questions for me.
I'm okay with the end. Like, all right. Why'd you have to take 6 movies to get me there? Okay?
And give me more questions.
And if Toby just wants to be in a person, he possessed Katie in the first one.
Exactly.
Why? I don't know. Maybe he wanted to be a dude and not a girl. You pulled a Caitlyn Jenner.
To be a man.
he was a man demon in a woman's body. That is worth, ladies and gentlemen, that's worth the price of admission on this video. Right there.
They tried to do.
What was that? That was just me hitting the couch. Toby.
I do recommend it. I was just personally
If you like the series, go see it just so that you can know how it ends.
Yes.
Okay? If you don't like the Paranormal Activity movies, you're not going to like this movie either. So, comes down to this. Tiffanie?
Yes.
On scale of 1 to 5, Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension.
I would say about a 3.5, 4. I liked it. I was just...
I'll pick one.
4 then.
Okay, 4.
I liked it enough, but the only thing that doesn't make it a 5 is, to me, it was the way that they've done this. They left more questions for me. But if this is supposed to be the last one, they could have given us just a little bit more information.
Yeah.
Explained just a little bit. Given me 5 more minutes of the movie would have made all of the world to me. Just to give me that much more.
For me, when you promote a movie by saying, we're giving you all the answers. This is the one.
That's where my disappointment
This is the
came.
one that is going to answer all of your questions about the series. And you answer a couple little things kind of, but I didn't feel it answered a lot of questions. And I didn't feel that it lived up to the hype. I mean, and some of you are probably saying, it's a Paranormal Activity movie, Enosh. Of course it didn't. And that's fine. Whatever. You can judge me by that if you want. I don't care. Please don't judge me that way. Okay, so if I was not a Paranormal Activity fan...
But you are.
Just based on what the movie is, I'd probably give it a 2.5. So about half. But because I do like the series, I gotta side with you, and I'm gonna give it a 4. Woo! That is
the Rick Flair.
It's the Rick Flair vote. Woo! All right, all across the board. So, and they were part of the Four Horsemen. It was the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, which kind of ties into the end of the movie too. It all comes back around. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope that you will give us a thumbs up. Leave some comments. Have you seen Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension? Do you like the series? What do you think? You know what? You can tell us. Really simple. Leave a comment.
What did you find in the movies that maybe we didn't catch, or things that you think that could have happened or should have happened?
Did you see something? I was disappointed because Katie Featherston. Is it Featherston?
I don't remember her name.
Anyways, the chick who's been in every movie so far was not in this movie. I'll spoil that for you.
Even just a cameo would have been good for him.
Because Katie was a good-looking girl. Just saying. I'm not usually into
for being
brunettes.
Possessed.
For being a crazy demon-possessed chick whose family is a bunch of witches who are trying to conjure a demon and give him a physical body. She's all right. There's 2 for you, ladies and gentlemen. All right. But yeah, give us a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, tell friends about the video, come back and watch the video again, and then, of course, subscribe to the channel, please. All right. Let us know what you think. Until next time,
I'm Tiffanie.
I'm Enosh, and you've been
spoiled.
spoiled.